Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to start by thanking Schengen for inviting me to participate in this 40th anniversary of the establishment of IFPRI. For the past 11 years, we at the Ethiopian Development Research Institute have benefited from the opportunity to work closely with IFPRI through a program of research activities on agricultural development in Ethiopia, known as ESSP, otherwise Ethiopian Strategy Support Program. I want to thank them for their support on this occasion of their anniversary. Since the mid-1990s, Ethiopia has followed a long-term development strategy named Agricultural Development-Led Industrialization, ADLI for short. This strategy envisages a sequential development of agriculture, first, and industry second, over several decades. The year 2015 is now taken as the end point for the first strategy of the agricultural growth and commencement of the second strategy of industrialization. Clearly, transition from the first to the second stage of ADLI has certain prerequisites in terms of performance of smallholder agriculture. In particular, it requires a significant shift in smallholder agriculture from subsistence production to commercialization that would make the transition irreversible. My feeling is that this is now more or less achieved in Ethiopia. Food policy in Ethiopia is about food security, particularly about achievement of food self-sufficiency at the national level. There are two reasons behind this. On one side is the belief that the objective of food self-sufficiency is feasible, and on the other side is the understanding that the alternative of depending on food imports would be ill-advised in a country which does not have minerals or carbohydrates to reverse the huge trade deficit that the country faces. So the question that arises, that needs to be answered, is the performance of Ethiopia with respect to food security so far and the explanations for the progress attained to date. I will try to look at this question in relation to, first, improvement of yield per hectare for cereals, and second, conservation and rehabilitation of the agroecology of the country. Productivity of smallholder agriculture has increased markedly in 2 decades between mid-1990s and 2015. The single most important factor for this is the increase in the application of fertilizer. Consumption of fertilizer within smallholder agriculture amounted in tons to 100,000 in 1993, 1.8 million in 1994-95, and 7.1 million in 2013-14. In application of fertilizer thus increased at around 7% per year over 2 decades since the mid-1990s. The proportion of farming households who use chemical fertilizer has now reached about 60%, having increased from 35% in 1996-97. Application of improved seed varieties, which started to pick up only in recent years, have increased from under 1% in 1996-97 to 21% in 2014. These two technologies of fertilizer and improved seeds, combined with significant improvement in agronomic practices, such as planting in rows, optimizing seed varieties, have raised productivity appreciably. As a result of this progress, The feeling within government circles is that food sufficiency is now, at least, fully within grasp. The other arm of improvement in Ethiopian agriculture concerns the agroecology. During the military rule of 1974-91, not only did the per capita income decrease, the natural resource base of agriculture as well got eroded sharply, along with deforestation and soil degradation. Thus, another aspect of ADL life strategy was environmental protection. This was undertaken in communal lands, particularly on the mountain and hill slopes, and at the farm level of individual holdings. The centerpiece of conservation and rehabilitation measures is the establishment of area exclosures, where livestock free grazing, wood cutting, and any other use of natural resources was prohibited so as to rehabilitate the natural vegetation and also allow planting of trees. Various types of physical infrastructures have also been put in place for conservation of water and soil, as well as protection against erosion. Now, the achievement in rehabilitation and vegetation and reforestation are remarkable. In 2010-11, the government set an ambitious 5-year plan target of increasing the area under exclosure from 3.2 million hectares to 10.2 million by the end of 2015. This was surpassed 1 year ahead of plan by reaching 11.7 million hectares. Tree planting has increased hugely and amounted to about 3 billion seedlings, for instance, in 2013-14, with a survival rate of about 2/3. An additional benefit, which was initially unforeseen, but is now greatly appreciated by the farming community, is the positive effect these measures to protect the environment have had on underground water levels in the valleys, and the prospect that it has opened up for irrigation. In 2013-14, for instance, an estimated 1.2 million smallholders out of a total of 15 million had made use of irrigation, and a significant of this proportion relied on usage of underground water. The growth of productivity and environment protection that have been attained would not have been possible without social mobilization and empowerment of farmers and rural communities. Development goes well beyond economics. Lastly, I'd like to say a few words about the importance of shifting from subsistence agriculture to commercialization in smallholder agriculture. While assessment of productivity per hectare in smallholder agriculture is not known exactly, my sense is that for cereals, it is at least marginally higher on average than 2 tons per hectare. This level of output can support a significant amount of marketable surplus. According to the official data, smallholder farmers on average marketed 20% of their output. If so, it can be taken that a fairly large proportion of farmers are now able to sell up to, say, 1/3 of their produce, which by itself signifies that commercialization is well in place and will continue to increase in future. Slowly but surely, a significant portion of the small farmers are turning into small or micro businessmen. Thank you very much.